Okay, so you weren't admitted to the hospital. You were just seen by somebody the next day. What time the next day?
It was around 11, 10 o'clock. My mother had taken me to the hospital.
How did you get in touch with your mother?
After I left the house,
Well, how did you leave the house? Right now, he's locked out. You locked the door. And you're looking for something to record him. And you found something to record him.
Which was my son's tablet.
And
that's when I went into the living room. I brought my kids to the living room with me, and I had to wait it out because I didn't want to go out there like he was just going crazy, like monstrosity. But I was afraid to go out there. So that's when I had locked in. I locked myself in, waited until the morning. He cannot go 24 hours without going to sleep. So I said, I'm going to take my advantage, wait till he goes to sleep. And he went to sleep in his car. And I got my keys, and I grabbed my 2 kids, barefooted and all, no clothes. And he had set the alarm.
Just a second. So you grabbed your kids and took them out to your truck.
Yes.
And drove where?
I drove to my auntie's house.
At what time? This is on the 21st?
Yes, the 21st. It was around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
And you drove to your aunt's house, and what did you do?
I went into my auntie's, and she called my mom. When she called my mom, that's when my mom had came over to her house and saw the injuries. And she said, we need to go to the hospital because we don't know how bad or how severe your injuries are. So that's when I was like, okay, I can go to the hospital. And she drove me there. I couldn't make a police report or assault report with the hospital because they were going...
No. You can't tell me what happened at the hospital that you couldn't.
Right.
You went to the hospital,
and then
weren't admitted, you were seen by a doctor.
I was seen by the doctor. I wasn't, in fact, admitted.
If you were admitted to a hospital, I want to see those medical records.
Okay.
This isn't a medical record. This is a one-pager on a visit that you had where you complained about an assault, and the doctor did notice some abrasions on your face.
Okay.
Doesn't say you were admitted anywhere.
I'm sorry, I don't have that one on me.
Okay. So now let's move on. So you drove your kids about 10 miles to your aunt's house. You stayed at your aunt's house for a while. Your aunt called your mother. Your mother came and said, I think we should go to the hospital and check out your injuries. And
that's when
I want to know how the police got involved.
So the hospital called the police.
So you're saying it wasn't you, the hospital called the police, so the police came to the hospital?
The police came, but they wasn't able to. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was one of a county issue with the situation.
You want to tell me?
Yes, she'll be able to tell you better.
Safari's mother.
So, Judge, when we went to the hospital, so the hospital is between Harris County Sheriff Department and HPD. So when we...
Well, he was arrested somewhere. So he was arrested somewhere. On what date were you arrested?
I was arrested on February 24th, so 4 days after this incident.
Okay. I assume you asked your daughter what happened when you, either driving to the hospital or when you got to your sister's house.
Yes.
At the time you asked her what happened, did she tell you that they had been in a fight?
Well, I could see they had been in a fight.
Well,
but...
no, there's a difference between a fight, which is mutual combat.
Right.
And an assault, which suggests that there was only one victim and one perpetrator.
Yes.
So what I want to know is whether your daughter discussed with you the facts that she's just relayed to me. That's a question, not a ha-ha.
Right.
Did she tell you that they were fighting?
Yes, she did.
Did she tell you that she at any point put her hands on him?
No, and she didn't because her mouth was so bad. She
just
really
a second.
couldn't explain
She did. She just told me.
Yes, but she didn't explain it to me that way.
I know, but she just explained it to me that way. I'm not putting a judicial imprimatur on anybody's assaultive conduct.
Right.
But you have to understand that in a fight, somebody ends up at the bottom of the barrel and somebody at the top of the barrel.
I agree.
Caption coming up.
Okay, now I'm going to see a video.
No, he's hitting me. I have no phone. He took my phone. He took everything, and I'm helpless. So I'm trying to get out of here.
I want you to tell me what precipitated that, because that's a nasty hit in the mouth.
Devon averts his eyes. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Devon and Safari.
Devon Clarence, has accused his ex-fiancée, Safari Williams, of reporting a false arrest after she assaulted him. Safari claims Devon assaulted and defamed her.
You did hear your daughter testify that at some point he got up and she went to throw a punch at him and missed.
Right.
And then he punched her and he continued to punch her. You did hear that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay, now I'm going to see a video.
Just press play.
Safari hands a phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She uses it to play a video of a bloody-lipped Safari.
Devon is hitting me. I have no phone. He took my phone. He took everything, and I'm helpless. So I'm trying to get out of here, but I need proof. This is proof. He's hitting on me. I have blood everywhere.
Blood in a toilet.
I have blood everywhere. Oh my God, I'm scared. I'm scared. He is crazy. He is really, really crazy.
Okay. Would it be a fair statement, Mr. Clarence, that you did in fact punch her in the mouth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I want you to tell me, because I see she's injured, her mouth is injured. I want you to tell me in your own voice what precipitated that, because that's a nasty hit in the mouth.
So when we flipped over the couch, I stood up, and she says that she pushed me off, but she actually reached her hands up and grabbed him by the testicles, and that's when I punched her. Right after punching her, she let go. I ran to the door. When I ran to the door, she followed behind me with a car battery. She picked it up, and she tossed it in my direction, which caused for me to have an injury to my hand.
You have photographs of that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
That's not true. It's just the battery.
Just
This was taken a couple days afterwards when the
By
swelling
whom?
went down
by whom?
by me.
A photo of an injured hand.
Is that the only injury that you sustained?
No, ma'am, I also from when she was choking me with my work lanyard. I also have pictures of my neck
Okay,
that was
let's-
taken that next morning.
I'd like to see it.
Untrue.
Don't speak. Don't speak.
Judy reviews a photo of a contusion on Devon's neck.
You're talking about this cut?
Yes, ma'am.
And where was that?
That's on my neck. No, it's right here, across the front.
Oh, I see. Okay. Go ahead.
So when we were tussling, so she threw the car battery at my hand. I looked down at my hand. I look at the broken doorknob. And when I'm looking at the broken doorknob, I look back up.
Which doorknob is?
The front door. Well, from when I grabbed the door, and when she tossed it, it hit my hand and slammed the doorknob down.
Okay.
So I look down at my hand and I see nothing but white inside of my hand. My hand was bleeding. Well, was about to start bleeding, but I saw the white, I saw the bone, I saw everything. So I looked up and I was like, what did you do? Are you crazy? And at that point, she says, I don't care anymore. She grabs me by my shirt and she pulls me into the house and starts punching me. At that point, when she starts punching me, I was like, you know what, that's it. And I started going back at with her.
No.
After punches were exchanged, I left.
Judge, those are the punches on the video that he did.
Just a second. I saw that she had an injury. He acknowledges that he hit her in the mouth.
So what I want to also add to that, because I saw him that same morning, I talked to him. He claimed at 7 o'clock in the morning he was on his way to a funeral. I told him, I said, well, look, I just spoke with my sister. I'm going by and get the kids some stuff. Don't come to the apartment. He shows up, nothing wrong. I didn't see a scratch anywhere. And I asked him, why are you here? Well, I'll just come let you know that I filed a police report. Why are you here?
Shh, just a second. So he filed a police report. Can I see a copy of that police report? Do you have it?
I do not have a copy of the police report.
So after he told you that he filed a police report, you went back to your sister's house. I assume you got...
No, I hadn't went to my sister's house. So my sister called me.
To go get things... Just a second. Look. Your sister called you and told you that your daughter was there with your grandchildren.
Right.
Could you go and pick up things for them?
Right.
So you drove over to the apartment where they had lived together.
Right.
He came,
Right.
said, I've just filed a police report against your daughter.
Right.
Then you went to your sister's house and you decided to go to the emergency room of the hospital.
Yes.
And then you filed a police report, or your daughter did.
We didn't file it at the hospital.
No, I didn't say at the hospital. Subsequently,
Yes,
you
we
filed
did.
a police
Yes, we did.
report.
Correct.
Do you have a copy of that police report?
I have my affidavit.
I don't want an affidavit. I
police
want
report, we should have
a copy of the
Sure.
police report.
Let me see. That's it.
That's it.
Okay, Kevin.
Kevin collects a document.
Alongside with my injuries that,
I saw your injury.
He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Well, this police report, the charge is assault of a family member impeding breathing.
yes.
And the affidavit reads, defendant on or about February 20th did then and there unlawfully, intentionally and knowingly cause bodily injury to Safari Williams, the complainant, with whom the defendant had a dating relationship by impeding the normal breathing and circulation of blood by applying pressure to the complainant's throat. Okay.
So right here, I have a copy of the motion to dismiss, which shows that they dropped the impeding breath, showing that I did not choke her.
That we know. The case was dismissed. Do you have a copy of the visitation order? You don't have joint custody because you indicated you had joint custody.
We have joint custody now.
When were you granted joint custody?
August 1st.
Was that after the mediation?
After the mediation, yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Williams, did you consent to the joint custody? Or did the mediator, after the trial, recommend joint custody?
Yes, I did consent to it.
You did. And that was the mediator's recommendation.
Correct.
Okay. The only thing I have to ask you, Mr. Clarence, is for what period of time from the 20th of February, was it until August or October that you didn't see the children?
So actually, it wasn't actually until that June. Orders were signed October. She failed to sign the children up for the domestic relation office for the supervised visitation. She failed to sign them up for another 6 months.
Not true.
That's
So it was an additional 6 months?
an additional 6 months.
Okay.
Judge, during that time where he was saying that he was trying to see the kids, he wasn't paying child support.
I don't care whether he was or whether he wasn't. I wouldn't pay child support if I had an order that said I couldn't see my children. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But it wasn't one of those keep the children type things away. It definitely wasn't. And when
Miss Williams, Miss Williams, I'm done with this case. I got it.
Caption coming up.
This is not a I say, you say. This is
because
this,
I went into the apartment and he had tape. He had electrical tape on the door. He kept my door there all night.
I want you to not speak. I want you to listen.
He wasn't.
There, I'm. Just a second. Sit. Now you don't get it.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Devon, Safari, and her mother.
Devon Clarence claims his ex-fiancée, Safari Williams, owes for a false arrest, abuse, and emotional distress. Safari is countersuing for assault and defamation.
While he has many causes of action in his complaint, the only one that I find actually viable, because they did, in fact, both of them engage in domestic violence against each other on February 20th. Don't. This is not a I say, you say. This is
because I went into the apartment and he had tape. He had electrical tape on the door. He kept my door there all night.
I want you to not speak. I want you to listen.
Okay.
I'm finished with the fact finding in this case. Your daughter and Mr. Clarence had a domestic incident on February 20th. It is clear to me that your daughter got the worst of the physical bargain, but she was, in fact, the aggressor. She did, in fact, put her hands on him first. I'm not asking you a question. I'm telling you, based upon what she told me, she put her hands on him first, twice. They had a fight. It was unpleasant, and she ended up certainly more injured than he did. It was nasty.
Yes, it was.
There is not a scintilla of evidence that Mr. Clarence should have been denied seeing his children as a result of a restraining order for over a year.
He wasn't.
There,
doing
I'm,
that.
just a second. Sit. Now you don't get it.
Okay.
Now you don't get it. I'm not listening to you. Now I'm ruling. There is not a scintilla of evidence that Mr. Clarence, who lived with these children for 4.5 years, who took care of them regularly alone, should have been denied seeing his children for over a year. And that's what happened because she asked for a restraining order that included the children. That's what happened. And that's outrageous because two adults who have children can fight with each other and they can be angry with each other and they can be vicious with each other, which they were, but they created two children. And the proof of the pudding is in the tasting because after it was all said and done, Mr. Clarence has joint custody of the children. So for a person that went from not being able to see his children then to supervise visits because that's what he asked for. And that took an additional 6 months. That is an outrageous outcome. Outrageous. Because I know that you would think it was outrageous if Mr. Clarence prevented your daughter from seeing the children for 2 days, for 1 day. I would think it was outrageous. And in this country, mothers and fathers have the same rights to children. Not they're her children or his children, they are their children. And if she feels threatened by him and had a protective order, that's okay. But then you are cooperative with regard to seeing the children, either in a supervised manner or some other manner. But asking for a restraining order that includes the children when there was never any indication that Mr. Clarence was an irresponsible parent is outrageous. I find that on the cross-complaint for assault, I find that Miss Williams was, in fact, seriously injured in her mouth as a result of this altercation. I also find that she was the provocateur because she put her hands on him first. So I'm dismissing your cross-complaint and I'm granting your complaint, Mr. Clarence, with regard to the children and the protective order which precluded you from seeing your children for that length of time. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. On that issue alone, the remainder of your complaint is dismissed. Your counterclaim is dismissed for the reasons that I've stated. We're finished here. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
This court is adjourned.
Devon leaves the courtroom. Outside the courtroom, Safari, then Devon.
I don't believe that I was ever the aggressor. He was always the person to gaslight me, especially when he brought the kids or he always taking the kids.
I've never gaslit her. I've always told her exactly what things are, told her the truth on matters. And a lot of people just can't handle the truth on things. So if you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen then.
He saw that I didn't care anymore. He saw that I just dried up and just said, you know what, it's done. So if you want to leave, leave, please.
No, that day I had a cool head. I tried to my best to get out that situation. Made many attempts, a beeline for the door, and she wouldn't let me leave.
I just want to be a mom. Just like he want to be a dad so bad, let me be a mom. But I could never get that from him, so.
I try to keep things cordial so the way my children can grow up in a favorable household.
Judy and Sarah.
What's your takeaway?
I think a big thing that I'm sure happens, you've seen it far more frequently than I have, but I'm sure it happens a lot, is mothers or fathers, but mostly mothers, who get into domestic violence situations or even assaults, even though here we decided that it was more of a mutual combat situation, but even so, they feel that they need a restraining order to protect themselves from their partner. And that's fair. You know, you feel threatened, your life, your safety, but that does not automatically transfer to children, like you said, that you share together. Because as we saw here, with very little, you know, we found out in the first 5 minutes of questioning that this was more of a mutual combat than a one-sided assault.
She just got the worst bargain.
Of course, but still not enough to keep a man from his children for over a year.
You know, it's sort of interesting. It's easier and safer for judges, for family court judges or criminal court judges to sign off on these sweeping protective orders that cover place of work, your home, the children's school, the children. It just is easier to check all the boxes and say, we'll take care of it at trial. Well, that might be okay if everybody gets a trial in a week. In this case, it took 3 years for it to be resolved. So
For something he probably should have had from the beginning, joint custody, given that they both cared for the children together.
And certainly not deprived of any contact whatsoever for well over.
Erin Dean is suing her ex-husband, Dennis Dean, for an unpaid car loan and negligence.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 3122, Dean versus Dean.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ms. Dean, it is your claim that the defendant owes you for a car that was stolen as a result of his negligence.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's start with, you and Mr. Dean were married for the first time in what month and year?
July of 2013.
You and Mr. Dean were then divorced.
That is correct, Your Honor.
In what year?
December 12th, 2019.
You and Mr. Dean were remarried.
This is correct.
What month and year?
October 1st, 2022.
And you separated again, and that marriage was annulled in what year?
August in 2023.
Now, you purchased a car.
Correct.
In what month and year?
October of 2019.
While you were married.
We were separated at the time. We were not living together.
But you were married.
Correct.
So this automobile was purchased during the course of your first marriage.
That is correct.
Do you have a copy of your divorce decree?
Yes, I do.
And does that divorce decree award you the automobile?
Yes, Your Honor, it does.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Erin hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
So you were awarded in the divorce the Jeep Cherokee.
Correct, that is correct.
And then you remarried October of 2022.
That's correct, Your Honor.
The Jeep Cherokee, which is the subject of this case, was stolen on what date?
From what Dennis told me, he realized the car was stolen on December 19th, 2022.
While you were still married.
Correct.
Now, you were remarried in October of 2022.
Yes,
And where did you live?
in Pasadena,
What address?
780.
And you both lived there together?
Yes,
Had you lived there before, during your first marriage?
no,
Had you lived there while you were separated?
yes,
When you remarried and you were living at 780, was the plaintiff living with you?
yes,
So she moved into your residence?
yes,
So far, is that correct, Ms. Dean?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you had no other residence?
No,
So you moved into 780.
that's correct.
Mr. Dean, until what date did Miss Dean live at 780, month and year?
January of 2023.
That is false, Your Honor.
Just,
Okay.
I'm not asking you anything.
Okay.
January of 2023. And what happened in January of 2023, sir?
She moved back east,
East to where?
North Carolina, while we were still married.
Okay. The car was stolen in December.
Yes, December 14th.
December 14th, so several weeks before she left.
Yes,
Tell me the circumstances surrounding the car being stolen. First, she was going back east,
yes,
and she asked you to take her to the airport?
yes,
Just a second. Did you drive her to the airport?
yes, I did.
On what date?
It was a week prior to the car being stolen, which was December 7th, 6th or 7th. She asked me
And
to take her to the
Mr.
airport.
Dean, when you took her to the airport, what car did you take her with?
In the Jeep Cherokee.
Did you have another car?
Yes, I did,
Why did you take the Cherokee?
because it was big enough to put all her luggage in.
So she asked you to.
Yes,
Okay. Now, when you left for the airport, where had Mrs. Dean spent the night before?
at our residence.
At your residence,
Yes.
together?
Yes,
And what was the reason that she was going back east
to visit her friend in Houston.
before she went to visit her friend and you were living together as a married couple?
Yes,
Had she given you, or did you have any indication that she was leaving you?
yes.
Tell me about that.
We had prior disagreements as far as where we wanted to live. She wanted me to move back east. She wanted to have another child, which I didn't feel comfortable with.
Did you have a child together?
No,
Who has children
we both do.
from prior relationships?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you had been arguing.
Yes, it was.
Just-
Oh, okay.
You had been arguing. The night before she left, you were still sharing the same residence.
Yes.
So you took her to the airport in her Jeep.
Yes.
At her request, because it fit all the luggage. And then after you took her to the airport, what did you do with the Jeep?
I parked the Jeep in a gated parking in my residence.
How long was she away?
About a week.
When she was coming home, who picked her up at the airport?
I was supposed to.
And did you pick her up at the airport?
No, I did not, because she says that she wasn't coming back because her car, I had told her about her car being stolen. And then I told her that once I found out that it was stolen, I got a police report done.
So while she was away for that 1 week,
Yes.
her car was stolen.
Yes.
And it was stolen from where?
Under the gated parking of my residence.
It was in the gated parking?
Yes.
Okay, do you have a police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
Dennis produces a document, then hands it to Kevin.
Here it is. Police report.
Kevin brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Okay, so the car was stolen.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Now I got the dates and I got everything. And the car was stolen and?
Car was stolen due to his negligence.
No, you say negligence. The car was stolen out of a gated area. First of all, even if it was stolen as a result of his negligence, you don't get your money.
Judy glares at Aaron. Caption, coming up.
When he moved my vehicle, he left the keys inside my car. My car cannot start without a push start. That's how my car got stolen, because the lady who did take my car, she had access to easily get inside of it, and the keys were inside my vehicle to where she was able to steal it.
And later today,
On May 19th, she caught me outside, so she was stalking me and found me, and she called me a liar, a thief, and a fraud, and a bitch. And I was embarrassed because she did it in front of my employer.
A woman shakes her head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Aaron and Dennis.
Aaron Dean claims her ex-husband, Dennis Dean, is responsible for car payments after the vehicle was stolen due to his negligence.
Let me ask you this question. I'm going to maybe phrase it differently. My husband is trying to be helpful, and there's a leak in the faucet in our kitchen that has just been redone. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I have to call somebody to fix this little leak. It's dripping, and I don't want it to get any worse. And my husband said, you don't have to call anybody. I have my toolkit right here. I'm going to fix it. He's a lawyer. He doesn't know about plumbing. But he goes under the sink, and he jiggles and jaggles and turns things, and there's a flood. And it not only floods out the kitchen, but it floods the apartment below. And I say, get out. I don't want to know you anymore. You're always doing things like this. You think my husband's responsible if the house is in my name? Get out of here.
Can I explain my situation and what happened, Your Honor, please?
You can. So now you have about 2 minutes to tell me your theory of the case.
When he did take me to the place, I did tell
Not
him,
the place, to the
took me
airport.
to the airport. I did tell him not to move my vehicle, not to drive my vehicle. He moved my vehicle because he has an unregistered vehicle that is in the previous divorce decree, and he uses that vehicle. He switches out his Infinity plates to drive that vehicle to and from work. I told him not to move my vehicle because I know he likes to move that car, so he told the police officers who rides back and forth the street doesn't see it.
That's not true.
And when he moved my vehicle, he left the keys inside my car. My car cannot start without a push start. So he took out the garage opener, and the reason why is because they were doing maintenance work at his apartment complex at the time where the gate was left open overnight. That's how my car got stolen, because the lady who did take my car, she had access to easily get inside of it, and the keys were inside my vehicle to where she was able to steal it.
Think about my husband, who I'm fighting with all the time, fixing the sink and causing a flood in an apartment or a house that is mine. I can't sue him. But it sounds to me, from what you tell me, that you knew he had been playing around with license plates while you were still together. That's what you just told me. That's what he does.
No, that's not true.
Listen to me, sir. It may not be true, but that's what you just told me.
It's in text messages, so
That's
it's true.
That's what you just told me.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. You have no case against him. It's unfortunate that your car was stolen and it was found, I understand.
Yes,
but it
it
was
was.
found
Totaled.
totaled.
Total, yeah.
Well, that's not his fault. Case is dismissed. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Aaron then Dennis.
I told him not to drive it, not to move my car, because I know that's what he did. He did it anyways. My car got stolen.
I didn't leave the key in the car. Actually, I had put it in my bag and took it upstairs, but she just went with that because that's all she had on.
I just hope that I never have to see him again.
I just want peace and just to be left alone and get back to my regular life.
Judy and Sarah.
Can you imagine how the courts would be flooded with lawsuits if married people could sue each other for negligence?
Be more backed up than it is right now.
Oh, it would put a complete stop to the justice system.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't even think that in this case he was negligent. I mean, there was debate as to whether or not he left the keys in the car. That could be viewed as a little bit negligent.
But they were a married couple who cohabited together until a couple of days before the car was stolen. And the place where he lived, evidently, which was under construction, somebody left the gate open. Well, that's the person who she ought to sue for leaving the gate open, which allowed her car to be stolen.
Sure.
Not her husband.
Agreed.
Ridiculous.
Case 3115, Brockett versus Carrillo. All parties, please come forward.
Caregiver Cyan Brockett is suing her former client, Catherine Carrillo, for unpaid wages, verbal assaults, and lying to her employer.
Ms. Brockett, it's your claim that the defendant owes you money because she refuses to sign a time card for you. And your vocation is you are a home health aide paid by the state. How long have you had a home health aide?
Since 2018.
I believe that you indicated in your answer that you have MS.
Yes, I do.
How long have you had MS?
Since I was 42, I was diagnosed with it.
How old are you now?
65. A while.
Long time.
I walk to try to keep my strength and muscles going in my legs.
Good for you.
Yeah.
How long have you had the home health aide?
The service was provided to me by disability through Social Security, and that was since 2018.
And when did the plaintiff take you on as a client?
From February 23rd to March 24th, when I terminated her.
And which time cards of hers? Because you have to sign a time card, correct?
I get an email that says a time sheet has been submitted by Cyan Brockett. So the first 2 weeks I approved, which I even did with hesitation because she wasn't doing the work that she was hired to do.
But you signed it?
It's electronic signature.
Okay. But you didn't fire her after 2 weeks?
Because she kept promising that she would make up the hours to me.
How many hours a day was she supposed to spend with you?
It was 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And she would come and sit down on my sofa and she would start texting and receiving phone calls and talking. And then one time she said, "Oh, Access didn't pick up my mom. I got to go. I'll make this up to you later." And she got up and left.
Okay, so that was, don't speak. So that was one time?
That was one time.
Okay.
And another time she was texting a lot. I go, "There's work that needs to be done that you agreed to do, and we need to get it done." And she goes, "Oh, I'm having a birthday party for my niece." And she showed me a picture on her phone of a cake with the Chanel, the 2 C's on it. And she goes, "I'm paying for this for my niece. I got a lot of planning to do for her party. So I have to go." And I said, "But what about the work that needs to be done?" She goes, "Well, I could always come on the weekend and do it." So she never did do the hours.
Okay, so that's 2 times out of 2 weeks, and that's Monday through Friday.
Yes.
Well, that's the first 2 weeks. What happened in the second 2 weeks?
Well, I had to go to the pharmacy, and I said I needed to pick up my medication. And then I went in the pharmacy to get my medication. She stayed in the car, and I went and got back in the car, and she came and dropped me off. She said she had to go to her next client. And I said, "It hasn't even been 45 minutes. And she said, "Yeah, well, I'll be back tomorrow." And then she didn't come back the next day, and I was calling her, and she didn't even answer her phone.
Okay.
Cyan frowns. Caption coming up.
She told me, "I want my money." And I turned around and I said, "Get away from me." She goes, "You're gonna pay me, you're gonna be sorry, I'm gonna sue you." And I kept walking. I never stopped, I never stalked her.
Okay.
I also reported the incident to the office where she lives, and she has more than one incident.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Cyan and Catherine.
Caregiver Cyan Brockett claims her former client, Catherine Carrillo, owes for unpaid wages.
Now, what time is she due at your house?
She was supposed to be there at 9, from 9 to 2.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Are you telling me that you always got there at 9?
Yes, I am.
Every day that you were there?
Every day. Until March 24th, when she asked me to come at 9:30, which was a Friday.
Why did she say to come at 9:30?
Because her and her friends were going to walk at Apollo Park, and that she wanted to exercise and be with her friends. So instead of coming at 9, could I come at 9:30?
Do you remember that?
I remember that conversation and that particular instance, but I did not ask her to come at 9:30 because my friend would leave to go for her walk at Apollo Park with some other friends at 6 in the morning. So I was going to be back at 9. And I even told her I would be back at 9. And I was back before 9, and she never came at 9.
What time did she come?
At 9:30, I was still waiting for her, and then I got a call from her. I guess it was about 9:45, and she said that she came and she had been there, and she waited over a half hour for me, and then she left. And I asked her, why did you leave when you're supposed to be with me 5 hours a day anyways? And I told her I was back, and she told me that I wasn't back, and I was.
Does she have access to your apartment?
No, she was waiting outside in her car, according to her.
Okay.
And I have text messages to prove it was not 9 o'clock, it was 9:30. And she didn't get back until 10.
Okay. If she got back at 10, how far do you live from her house?
I wasn't even at her house. I was at another client's house in the same senior living. And she knew that. So all she had to do was call me, and I would have been at her house.
On March 24th, you say, Catherine texted me, your first name is Catherine,
Yes.
and said she was now at home. I told her it was not my job to wait around for her.
Right.
Well, it is your job if you want to get paid for that day.
I'm not asking to
Just
get
a
paid for
second. So
Yes,
you're not
right.
asking to get paid for that day?
No, I'm asking to get paid for the other days that I worked up until that day.
Okay. Well, the 24th, but you left on the 24th.
Yes.
So what days are you asking to get paid for?
March 16th to March 23rd.
Would you show me a calendar? How many days was that during the week?
The 16th of 2023 would have been a Thursday.
Thursday, so
So the
16,
16th and
17.
So that's 2 days. The 20th would have been Monday, the 21st, Tuesday, 22nd, Wednesday, 23rd, Thursday, 6 days.
You were asking to get paid for 6 days,
Yes.
which you were actually present.
I was actually present and working.
Now, the first 2 weeks you've described to me 2 events that happened within the first 2 weeks. In the second 2 weeks that she worked for you, and we're really talking about 6 days only in the next 2 weeks, because that's all the days that she actually worked. Do you have specific days that she wasn't there?
She's saying she was there, and she never did any of the work that she was hired to do.
Well, that's a different story. Then you should have fired her. But if she was there, she was there.
When she was there, she was talking on the phone and texting.
Well, that's okay. I mean,
That's a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was at your house talking on the phone.
Yes.
Okay. Now, show me how much you were paid per hour.
At that time, we were paid $17.25 per hour. As of January 1st, we got a raise to $18 an hour.
$17.25 is what you were earning at the time you worked for her.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Sarah Rose, you have your computer out?
Yeah.
We're going to do $17.25 times 5. How much?
86.25. 86.25.
Times 6.
517.5.
517.50. Okay. Now, punitive damage for malicious lies to employers.
Yes. She called IHSS, the company that pays us, and said that the reason why she refused to sign my timesheet was because I left the country.
Okay. I'd like to see proof of that.
I don't have that proof.
Well, then you don't get paid for that.
She also verbally attacked me on May 19th.
Okay, so I'd like you to tell me what happened on May 19th.
On May 19th, she caught me outside in Gardens 2, which is in the back and not part of her section. And up until this time, I had never seen her back there. So she was stalking me and found me, and she called me a liar, a thief, and a fraud, and a bitch.
Okay.
And I could not do anything about it. And I was embarrassed because she did it in front of my employer.
Your Honor, that's a complete lie. I walk my dog, and I have a map here of the complex, and I was walking, I do the big circle
Just
first.
tell me what you said to her.
I didn't say nothing to her. She came out and she told me, I want my money. And I turned around and I said, get away from me. She goes, you're gonna pay me, you're gonna be sorry, I'm gonna sue you, you're gonna pay court costs, I'm gonna make you pay for my attorney. I said, don't talk to me and get away from me. And I kept walking. I never stopped. I never stalked her.
Okay.
I also reported the incident to the office where she lives, and she has more than one incident.
I don't know that either.
That's not true.
Shh. I know that she has to give you $517.50 because whether you were useless working for her or not, your body was there. And if your body was there for 6 days, 5 hours a day, you're entitled to be paid. $517.50, judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Cyan, then Catherine.
Because I didn't kiss her butt.
That seems completely crazy considering she never did anything, you know.
I didn't do what she wanted. I didn't jump. I didn't wait outside my car in the freezing cold, risking my health.
And the demands of the job of an in-home support worker is to help with tasks around the house. And she never did any of them, so I don't know what was crazy about that.
Never work for her again.
Judy and Sarah.
I think that the defendant was really miraculous. She's had MS for 42, 52, 60, almost 25 years. Yeah. She walks her dog, she walks around the big circle, little circle, and she really...
Just needs a few extra help with a few tasks
probably
around
a little
the house.
extra help with moving things, cleaning things around the house. That's it. Lucky that she lives in the country.
Room.
Wanda Lucero is suing her niece's former landlord, Lawrence Block, for property damage and pain and suffering.
Court come to order.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 3011, Lucero versus Block.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Wanda.
Miss Lucero, this is your sister,
Yes.
and she has a daughter.
Yes.
Her daughter is challenged.
Yes.
She and your daughter, according to what I read, were living together. And there came a time when your sister decided that it was best for her to go into a senior community,
That's correct.
leaving her daughter to find another place to live. When was that?
In March of 22.
Have you always been involved with the care of both your sister and her daughter?
More recently or more actively in the past year.
How old is your niece?
38.
So you started to look for a facility for her, someplace where she would be safe. And you were referred by whom to the defendant's group home?
Well, it turned out my daughter had paid for her another month's rent at where they were living so we could figure out what we were going to do. And the owner of that place told her she wanted her out now. So she was actually homeless for a week.
You mean your niece?
Yes. And it turned out she got an infection and she had to go to the hospital. And so when she got discharged from the hospital, they're the ones that found his organ.
So the social worker at the hospital was
Correct.
instrumental in finding the defendant's facility.
Yes.
Your lawsuit is alleging that you had to, because of circumstances which you will tell me about, take her out of the defendant's group home. It is a group home, I assume, sir?
Yeah.
And you had to do that relatively quickly, and there was some sort of a kerfuffle with the defendant where he scratched your car, destroyed some of the property that your niece had. Mr. Block, in his answer, has a whole different scenario, which he's going to tell me about. On what date, Mr. Block, did the plaintiff's niece come to live in your group home?
I am
You don't
not
know.
sure on the date.
You don't know. On what date?
March 14th of 2022.
I want you to describe the group home that you run, Mr. Block. How many residents do you have?
I have anywhere from 8 to 10 at most times. It's for psychological disabled.
8 to 10?
Yes.
Okay. And describe the house. Give me the address.
It's San Bernardino, California, 92404.
Okay, Sarah, you look that up for me, please.
Sure.
And are you registered or licensed with the state?
With the city.
With the city of San Bernardino?
I'm a room and board.
I'll ask questions.
Okay.
You give me answers.
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor.
The answer is you're licensed by the city?
Correct.
As what?
as room for rent.
Just a room for rent.
That's the only qualification.
Just don't tell me what the only qualification is. You're licensed by the city to rent rooms in this house.
Correct.
Now, the plaintiff was referred to your boarding house, because it's not a facility, it's a boarding house, by the hospital. Do you know how the hospital got the name of your boarding house? Did you give it to the hospital?
The county collects a list of room and boards.
Boarding houses.
Yes.
And how many rooms are you permitted to rent in your house?
5.
It's a 5-bed, 2-bath, 2,000 square feet. I have photos if you want to see.
Judy dons her glasses, then looks at photos of a property on Sarah's laptop.
Do you also live there, sir?
No.
Who else lives there?
It would be a house manager and residents.
A house manager?
Yes.
Is the manager also a tenant?
Yes. It's on-grounds manager 24 hours.
Okay, so you have somebody who's a resident who rents a room from you and who acts as the manager of the property.
Correct.
Okay. How much was the rent you were paying?
Well, it varied. It started out at like $750,
and your niece shared a room with someone?
Yes.
With the manager.
In the end.
Just a sec. Well, that's okay. She shared a room with somebody.
Correct.
Now, Ms. Lucerno, according to what I read, you tried to keep close tabs on your niece, and you went to pick her up, and there was something that happened that was disturbing. When was that?
On November 30th, I went over there. She had doctor's appointments that day, so I went to pick her up, and before we left her bedroom, she opened her purse and flung some undergarments to the house manager whom she shared the room with. So when we got in the car, I asked her, I said, Liz, what are you doing with her undergarments in your bag? And she said, well, we had been to Walmart and she asked me to put them in there. And I'm like, so you stole them? And she goes, I don't know. I go, yeah, she had you steal them. So that was the straw. There was a lot of other things that went on throughout her stay there, but that was the final straw.
And you went back to remove her property?
Yes.
That day?
Yes.
And describe to me what time you went there and what happened.
I would say around 3, maybe.
Had you notified anyone that you were taking your niece out of the residence?
No.
Okay, so it was about 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
so we went in there. I had hefty bags. We bagged up all her belongings. And then,
was her roommate there?
Yes.
So the house manager was there?
Yes.
Okay. Did the house manager call you and let you know on that date that she was moving out? Yes.
Yes.
Of course. Okay. And where were you, by the way, when she called you?
I was at a community hospital interviewing a potential new client.
Okay. So how far away were you from the house when you got the call from the house manager?
Just driving distance or?
Traveling distance.
Traveling distance would be about half hour.
Okay. Now, it took you a half hour to get back to the property. Did you come directly back to the property?
I finished my interview, then did, yes.
How long did that take?
It was about an additional 15 to 20 minutes with the interview.
So maybe 45 minutes later, you showed up at the house.
I would say an hour.
So when you showed up at the house, what was the purpose of coming to the house?
Well, there was an issue skipped in between that. Before I came to the house, I had gotten a call from my son. He said that some lady had blocked him into the driveway because he was doing an errand for me at the house.
Stand up. Over here.
Lawrence's son rises. Caption coming up.
It was both ways. She was arguing and yelling and using profanity with as well. It was a back and forth. It wasn't a one-way situation like that. And eventually I did break it off. And at that point is when I figured out how to get his car out of there.
I'm gonna look at the video.
Lawrence smiles. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Wanda and Lawrence.
Wanda Lucero claims her niece's former landlord, Lawrence Block, owes for property damage and pain and suffering.
You called your father and said someone was blocking you in?
Yes, they, with their vehicle, they had blocked the driveway.
Okay. Were they loading property?
No.
What were they doing?
They expressly went to block me into the driveway.
Really?
Yes.
They were trying to get away. Why would they stand there and do nothing and block you from... Don't speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Why would they just block you, sir, if what they were trying to do is get the property and leave? Why would they block you? Can you figure that out?
Yes, if I may. They saw that I was not a normal resident and assumed that I had something to do with the management of the property, and were insisting that I let them into places such as the garage. And
Just a second. The plaintiff was asking you to let her into the garage?
yes,
Did you say, why do you want to go into the garage?
no,
Did she tell you there was a piece of property there that belonged to her niece?
I wasn't listening to her.
What do you mean you weren't listening? What were you doing?
He's not involved in the property.
Would you be quiet?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your witness.
Yes,
You
Your Honor.
brought him here. So you weren't listening as to what she said to you?
Yes.
Why?
I have no pertinence to the
Sit
things
down.
going on.
Sit down. Anyway, you got there, and there was a kerfuffle when you got there. So now he's gone. Did you finally let him out?
Nope.
Were you blocking his car?
Yes, I was.
Tell me why.
Well, my
video
niece.
of it,
I'm
too.
not speaking to you. You have to understand.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
You have to understand. I've been involved in your kind of businesses, not personally, but have had involvement with those businesses for a very, very long time.
They do have a bad reputation.
They sure do. And if something like that smells, which you say it has a bad reputation, if you're involved in that bad stuff, smell sticks.
And I say one thing and
I'm not finished yet. I want to know why you blocked his son's car.
Well, I needed to get that item out of the garage.
What item?
It's a clothes hamper, and it had some random things in it.
Who put it in the garage?
I guess his house manager. The garage is off limits to the residents.
Do you know why?
I know
Why
he
is the
keeps.
garage off limits to residents, sir?
to secure food preparation items, because we room and board, so we provide the food as well. If we didn't have it in a secured area, then it would be gone every week before we could make our meals, so we have to secure it in there. And it's also used for when residents move out to secure their items and put it in there so the other residents don't go through it, because they have a tendency, once they hear somebody's moving, to go through it and pillage everything.
So she's looking for her niece's hamper.
Yes, some items.
No, she's looking for her niece's hamper.
Okay.
Everything else was packed up in garbage bags. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the only thing that remained was the hamper.
Correct.
That you wanted to get. He shows up.
Hysterically.
Well, right now you're blocking his son in his car so he can't leave, whatever that means. By the way, when she blocked your car in...
Lawrence's son rises.
Did you go back into the house and call your father?
I remained outside. I called him inside of my car.
When you received the phone call from your son, I want you to tell me what he said to you.
He said some lady is yelling at me about getting into the garage, and then she parked behind me and won't let me leave. What do you want me to do? I said,
So you came
I'll
home.
be right there.
And when you came home to the house, tell me exactly what you saw.
Her dark utility vehicle at the end of the driveway blocking my son who was parked on the driveway.
And what did you do?
I was pretty fumed at that point. Somebody, involving my kid in something like that and holding him hostage of sorts. And so I was pretty irate. I started telling her, you got to move. This is illegal for you to be here. And she would argue back.
Just a second. Did she tell you, Mr. Block, that all she wanted was the hamper from the garage?
Yes.
Did you give it to her?
Not at that point.
Why?
At that point, all of her belongings wasn't at that same location.
No, listen to me, sir. Answer my question. She asked you for the hamper. There's no question she did. And she said it's in the garage. Why didn't you give it to her? Did you not give it to her because you were angry at that point?
Yes. I was arguing with
You
her
were
and didn't wanna
arguing-
I
you
didn't
were-
want to
you-
cooperate with somebody who's holding my son hostage.
He wasn't hostage. He was in his car, and his father was there. Sit.
Lawrence's son sits.
So you were angry.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you knew that the plaintiff's niece is a challenged child.
Yes, all of our residents are.
And the scene that you made by not giving her the hamper was in front of her niece who was in the car.
It was both ways. She was arguing and yelling and using profanity as well. It was a back and forth. It wasn't a one-way situation like that. It was an ongoing argument between each other. And eventually I did break it off and disengage to go talk to my son. And at that point is when I figured out how to get his car out of there.
I'm going to look at the video. Did you bring me the video or did she?
I did.
I'd like to see it.
Footage of a driveway.
Genius human being.
Okay.
And by the way, the bag sitting in the back
Absolutely
of the
brilliant.
car is where I sat the bag.
Yeah, this is a good idea of justice, blocking the driveway. calling the cops for no reason. Smart human being. Genius.
That was the entirety.
Who's taking the picture?
My son.
So he was outside his car.
At the moment, yeah.
Taking a photograph, hardly hostage. I want you to tell me what you did. Did you put your hands on the car?
No. Oh, yes.
Did you put your hands on the car?
On the handle, yes.
Well, that's the car. And did you open the door?
Yes.
Which door?
The front door.
Front driver's door.
Front driver's.
Who was in the driver's seat?
The plaintiff.
And what did you intend to accomplish by opening up her door?
Again, not being completely rational. I was just trying to convince her to move. And
Nah, that doesn't convince her to move. That can scare you if you weren't being rational, going over and opening up her car door.
Okay.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
He grabbed my car door remote, slammed that door, hit my windshield, went to the back door. He had to have scratched it with this. And then, after he got his son's car out, he came head on at my car like he was going to hit us head on.
Lawrence raises his eyebrows. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Wanda and Lawrence.
Wanda Lucero has accused her niece's former landlord, Lawrence Block, of damaging their personal property. Lawrence claims Wanda threatened his son and escalated the situation.
Now, tell me what happened when he got there.
When he got there, he was cussing, calling me every name.
Got it. He was angry because you were blocking his son's car.
Right.
And he had to come back there because you were moving out. There's
Right.
no question that he would have come back there because you were moving out anyway, because he got a call from his house manager / your niece's roommate who had her steal property from Walmart.
Yes.
I offered her the time to come back and get the stuff. It wasn't available at the moment because I thought some of it was at another location.
There's no available. All she wanted was the hamper from the garage.
I understand.
That's what she said she wanted. That's not, it's all over the place.
Okay.
All she wanted was the hamper from the garage. Everything else was there and packed. She was ready to go. She just wanted the hamper. He had no authority to give her the hamper or couldn't get into the garage. He didn't know how to get into the garage. Actually, I'm sure your son said to you, if you're a smart man, well, what do they want? And I assume he said to you, they want a hamper from the garage. I assume he said that to you, or he wasn't listening. That he wasn't listening to. Did he tell you that that's what they wanted?
Not that I recall.
Okay. So now tell me what he did to your car. He opens the car door.
Opened the car door. I thought he was going to hit me. My sister and niece were scared to death. They were hysterical. Let's go. He's going to kill us, because he was out of control. And he grabbed my car door remote, slammed that door, hit my windshield, went to the back door. He had to have scratched it with this, opened that door, and threw her bags of belongings out in the street. And then, after he got his son's car out...
Well, how did he get the son's car out? He went up on the curb?
Yeah, and then he came head on at my car like he was going to hit us head on. Matter of fact, the son in the driveway kept backing up like he was going to hit my car.
Well, you should have let him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should have let him out.
Yeah.
You have no right to block him in.
I know, but he should have let us in that garage.
Just a second. It's not his responsibility to let you in the garage. Let's understand each other. It's not his responsibility. He's not in charge of that house. If it was a hamper and clothes you were looking for, you'd be smart. You get your niece out of there.
Right.
You go to wherever you're going to take her, and then you make a communication. Listen, we left a hamper there. Either you get it or you don't get it. But blocking him in is not what you're legally able to do. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
That's why he got frustrated. There's no question about that. He handled it all wrong. You can't put your hands on her car. You can't take out the bags from the car. You can't run over them.
I did not run them over.
You can't scratch her car.
I didn't do that either.
Well, she's going to show me pictures, sir. And that's
Of a
what she's
scratch?
and that's what she's here for. She has to convince me that you damaged property and you took property without permission.
Well, as the video shows, the bags were not thrown or sprawled out or ran over as she's claiming either.
Oh, no, she didn't say sprawled out, sir.
said I threw
You
them.
touched somebody else's property, and you have no right to do that. You were angry. You have no right to touch her car,
I understand.
scare her physically. And if you threw, not gently put, the bags of stuff Oh, there's no question in my mind that if you're angry and you grabbing them out of the car, you're not grabbing them out of the car and gently putting them down. Whatever. Show me the car's damage, please.
I did not throw them.
Yeah, all right.
Kevin hands a document to Judy.
Shouldn't be taking care of challenged people in your house. Should get off every list. I know it's a business and I know people have to do it, not you.
The document is a list of expenses.
Okay. Damage to the car.
Right here.
Wanda hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them. One depicts a cracked window.
Is this the damage? Is this the...
Crack, yeah.
Hmm?
Yes.
Did you have it fixed?
Yes.
I'd like to see the bill for it.
Okay.
A second photo depicts a scratch on the body of a vehicle. Wanda hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
So is what you're telling me your out-of-pocket was $250?
Yes.
Okay. To fix your car was more money, but that was your deductible, $250.
Right.
Okay. So we have $250. What else?
He took my garage door opener, so I had to buy a new one.
How much was that?
$134.95.
I didn't touch a garage door opener.
What else?
And the rental car was $366.20 that I was in while my car was getting worked on.
Just a second. Did your insurance pay for that? Yes, they had to.
Yeah.
Yes, of course they did. Because if you had a $250 deductible on your car, then there's no question in my mind that you had rental car. Okay, all right. $385, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. We're finished.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Lawrence, then Wanda.
That was no problem as far as her moving out. That's a normal part of the business. What was very upsetting was somebody involving my son and trapping him from being able to move.
Because what I wanted wouldn't have taken more than 30 seconds to get. I'm disabled, so I always look for the easiest route.
I do regret I was pretty fumed, but it was because, you know, that Papa Bear part of me came out, and somebody was attacking my kid in my head, so.
The way he was cussing and carrying on.
I wanted to go full force, and I went too far with verbalizing anyways.
Just screen him good.
In her chambers, Judy with Sarah.
A good point that this case highlighted that I actually couldn't believe that I want to look into a little bit more is that just anybody can rent or own a 5-bedroom, however many bedroom home, and just open their doors and get put on a list for rooms for rent for people with real challenges or disabilities. You've been in the business longer than me, but you need a license to give a pedicure in most places. Right. So the fact that this man can just open up a home that he was renting and be put on a list as a safe haven for these people to live, secure living environment, food, shelter, all of that, to me, is kind of outrageous that you don't need any sort of check and balance or any
sort of license or government oversight.
Exactly, especially with such a class of people that require extra care and help, and I really couldn't believe that.
Yeah, it's problematic because for adults who have challenges, there are so few facilities, and it's such a vulnerable population. And to force that vulnerable population into being in a place that is not carefully scrutinized by either a locality or the federal government, because very often there are federal funds that filter down into these places. It's just so monumentally sad.
All the way around.
It is monumentally sad.
I think the plaintiff said it best herself when asked how to avoid types of problems like these. She said you really have to screen them very well.
Title, Judy Justice. 2 plaintiffs enter the courtroom.
17-year-old Dynasty Muniz and her boyfriend, Javante Williams Ramos, are suing Tanya Linsenbigler and her teenage children, Diamond and Isaiah Teneo, for car damage and harassment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Case 3120, Muniz Williams Ramos versus Linsenbigler.
You're Miss Munoz, is that correct?
Yes.
This is your boyfriend?
Yes.
Your first name is?
Javante.
This used to be your friend Diamond?
Yes.
Raise your hand, Diamond. This is Diamond's mother, and that's Diamond's brother. So far, I have parties correct?
Yes.
You are the?
Stepfather.
You were involved in this?
I was there.
Yeah, I know. So this involves a whole lot of threats and posting pictures and a whole bunch of other things, but the real meat of this case is you are alleging that this young man, your name is Isaiah?
Yes.
threw bricks at your car and damaged it.
Yes, he did.
You want to be compensated. And defamation of character because you claim that Diamond shared a video that she took of you on the internet.
It's not that she took it from me. She had gotten a video from her sister's phone that I had sent to her sister, and she had posted it on the internet.
Okay. She says she did that because you told her boyfriend that she was cheating on him or some other such teenage nonsense that I'm quite frankly not interested in. Okay. What I want to know, Javante, why are you a plaintiff?
I'm a plaintiff because I was a witness.
Well, a witness is not a plaintiff.
I used the vehicle to get to work.
Who cares? It's not your car. So you're not a plaintiff.
He paid for part of the vehicle as
I don't
well.
care. Is his name on the title? No. Sit.
Javante sits.
Now the case belongs to you. When did this incident with the car take place?
On May 5th, it began.
When did it finish?
On May 6th in the morning.
Now, you're the mother.
Yes.
What I gather is that your daughter told you that she had been working with her friend doing DoorDash.
Yes.
Stand still. And that the plaintiff had not given her any money for working with her at DoorDash.
Correct.
Did you contact her?
I did.
How did you contact her?
I have wrote her and asked her about...
Wrote her how?
Through Messenger.
Okay, so you texted her.
Yes.
Did you send any text messages to her that could be viewed as threatening?
No.
No. Okay. Do you have any text messages that she sent to you that you want to show me that could be viewed as threatening or harassing?
Yes, I do.
Well, then show me.
So I have text messages from her where she kept asking me and
Just a second. Just show them to me.
Okay. This one here.
Dynasty hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Okay, so it's clear, Ms. Munez, that you owed her money because you don't deny that you owed her money, but you say you're not giving her any money because she disrespected me. Well, how did she disrespect you?
She disrespected me by, she was just basically telling people my business. He was going to him saying that I was cheating on him. And then she spiraled from there because I had gotten into an argument with her because of a fact that I was with her sister all the time.
Who cares? Did you owe her money? The answer is yes.
I didn't owe her any money. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I offered for her to come out with me, door dashing, and she agreed to it. When I took her out, I had bought her food and stuff, and all the money I made that day went straight to gas that I had to put in the car from doing those orders. I didn't make much. I told her in the beginning if I made anything, and I was gonna give it to her out of the kindness of my heart. That's what I do.
Did she get out of the car to either pick up or deliver any items?
Yes, she came out with me.
You drove. She got out and either picked up or delivered the items. That's a yes.
Yes.
Then you owed her money. Okay, that's not part of this complaint, but I'm just getting the characters.
Yeah.
Okay, the mother says the disrespect has nothing to do with what she earned. You consider that harassment? No way.
It's just...
I'm just telling you, from a legal perspective, that is not harassment. Okay, case against you is dismissed. You may be seated.
Okay, thank you.
Tanya sits.
Now I would like you to tell me what your case is against Diamond.
Diamond was threatening me the whole day. She wanted to fight me. She continued sending me text messages, as well as when...
Show me the text messages.
So this is where it began, where she first started talking. And then this one.
Dynasty hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
Who's Star?
Her sister, the one I was friends with.
Who cares? Nonsense. Anything else with regard to Diamond? That's you.
So after they had damaged my car, she ended up posting a photo of me on the internet.
Okay.
And sending out my number and my address.
There's no allegation that she damaged your car. That was all?
That was him.
Isaiah?
Yes.
Okay. So let me see what you claim. And this is the final harassment.
No. I have more evidence of the harassment.
Okay, so let me see the next piece of evidence that you allege is harassment. This is all teenage nonsense stuff.
Dynasty hands more documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
Okay, so what did you post?
Her in her lingerie.
Her and her lingerie.
That she already posted herself. That's not true, Your Honor. I
Okay.
didn't post it.
So let me, just a second. Let me see the photograph that she posted of you.
I do have one from the screenshot of someone that had texted me from her sending out my number with the picture.
Did you put her phone number in the
No, I didn't.
Do you have those posts that you made from your phone? Did you make them from your phone?
She actually sent them to someone and they sent it to me.
Who sent it to you?
She sent them to someone.
Just a second. Name! If they sent it to you, I need the name.
My sister's ex-boyfriend.
What's his name?
I don't know his name like that.
You're a witness. Stand up. What's your other daughter's name?
Star.
What's her boyfriend's, ex-boyfriend's name?
I don't know his name personally, but I know who she's talking about because she did send a picture over to him.
Who sent a picture over to whom?
Dynasty has sent a picture to him.
To the boyfriend?
Yes.
What's his name?
I don't know who he is. I didn't send the
Just
photo
a second.
over.
Who took the picture of you?
I did. I sent
Just
it
a
to
second.
her sister.
Just a second. You took a picture of yourself
Yes.
in lingerie and you disseminated it to her sister.
Yes, because me and her sister would send things like that back and
what
forth.
the why is.
Caption coming up.
She posted the video, which had other people texting me as
I
well.
don't care. Don't take pictures that you don't want to see on the front page of the New York Times and then send them to somebody. Do you understand?
Dynasty averts her eyes. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Dynasty, Javante, Tanya, Diamond, and Isaiah.
17-year-old Dynasty Muniz and her boyfriend, Javante Williams Ramos, claimed Tanya Linsenbigler and her teenage children, Diamond and Isaiah Teneo, damaged her car and posted inappropriate photos of Dynasty online.
So when you're dumb and you take a picture that you don't want on the front page of the New York Times, put it in your safe, and then if somebody steals it out of your safe, that's malicious. You send it to somebody else. You published it. You sent that to her sister. And what her sister did was her sister showed it to her boyfriend. Do you understand?
I do.
Good.
I do now. I'm not friends with them anymore
Good.
because of it.
So we're finished with you. You can step back again. What else do you have against her, do you think?
It's the text messages that I'm receiving from random people. Nobody has my number, and they have the picture that she had posted too. So you're telling me she didn't get the number or anything? She didn't hand out the number and somebody just has the video?
Just a second. I don't know
No, I know.
if you have proof that she put your number.
Yes, I had submitted a video from Snapchat that she had posted at the time. I can pull it out on my phone if you want
Well, put it out on your phone. Did you send this out on Snapchat?
No, I posted it on Snapchat.
Just a second. So the answer is you posted it to be nasty.
No, it wasn't. She already posted herself in it.
Just a second. Did you post it with her phone number on it?
No.
No.
Never did with her phone number. Just was her.
Okay. So I want you to watch it. Make sure you watch it carefully.
Here.
Dynasty hands her phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She glances at the screen.
Oh, would you show this to Miss Diamond in the Rough, please?
Diamond smirks. Kevin hands her the phone.
Want to read that you posted? Read it. Can you read?
It says, just waiting on you, say no more, you know how I do.
Who do you think posted that?
I posted the picture, the video. She's the one that sent that to the boy through her phone. Because her and my sister was trying to see if he was loyal.
You following that?
Yes, I'm following.
Okay.
So the friend, sister, they came up with a little plan to test the boyfriend's loyalty, have her send a picture to said boyfriend to see how said boyfriend responds to her picture/video.
Oh my God. Yeah, she's not swift enough to make up that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You can step away from your brother. You're no longer a defendant in this action.
She posted the video, which had other people texting me as
I don't care. Don't take pictures that you don't want to see on the front page of the New York Times and then send them to somebody.
I didn't send them. Her sister sent them.
I understand that. You sent them to her sister, your friend Star. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes, but that didn't mean that she had to keep harassing
She didn't have to.
But why?
Not everything is a lawsuit, madam. What I'm telling you is, if you had taken the video, put it in the safe, and she stole it out of the safe, you have a case. You published the video by sending it to somebody else. That somebody else showed it to their boyfriend or showed it to 20 other people. Do you understand?
I do, but what I'm not understanding is how you're just dismissing her with her posting that, as well as posting a picture after it with me and my daughter. Like, my video did not have my face on it. As you could see, it was blurred out. I had it covered, so nobody could have told it was me.
It got more stupid. It just got more stupid. Well, now let's get to what this case is about, which is damage to the car. You, on the 6th of May, you went over to a place where she was with your sister. Not with her.
No.
With whom?
By myself.
You went by yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you go there for?
Because I had called my sister, see what was going on, and she started with me, so we started something. She told me to come to her house. And
Who told you to come to her house?
My sister, Star.
Your sister, Star?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, the other one, the one with the boyfriend, with your old friend. Okay. So your sister, Star, told you to come to whose house?
Her house.
How old is she?
19.
She doesn't live home?
No.
You live home with Diamond?
Yes.
So your sister, Star, told you to come over to her house, and?
We were arguing back and forth on the phone. She had told me to come over to her house.
Why were you arguing with your sister?
Because of some situation that happened between...
What situation that happened?
I don't know what situation it was, but I called her, and me and her started arguing on the phone.
What were you arguing with your sister about?
I don't know what it was about. I don't know the situation.
Oh, did you go over to your sister's house?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that where Miss Munez was? At your sister Star's house? And now you have 2 geniuses. You have any other children?
Yeah.
Also geniuses?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So now you go to your sister Star's house, and the plaintiff is hanging out with your sister. And out front of the house, there starts to be a back and forth. You're shouting up the window, they're shouting back at you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what are you shouting and what are they shouting?
Slurs, like different things.
Are you telling somebody to come down? They're telling you to come up?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. When did Diamond show up?
Like a couple minutes later.
Okay. And when did your stepfather show up?
After he heard that I was there.
That's not true.
Just a shh. Stand up. You're the stepfather. Your last name is?
Aponte.
Mr. Aponte, who told you that your stepson, the genius, was over at your stepdaughter Star's house?
My wife did.
When you got there, what did you see?
I seen ice.
Shh. When you got there, be careful. When you got there, what did you see?
I seen a lot of arguing.
Between whom and where were they located?
My son was outside of the house, and they was out the window.
And they were at the window, so
Yeah.
you heard back and forth and back and forth.
Yes.
Okay, and then what happened, sir?
And
look at me.
After they was arguing.
After they were arguing, yes.
I was surveillance the whole time. That's
No,
why.
you were watching?
Yes,
You
that's
were
why they
standing-
don't know I was there.
Just a second. You know this is not going to come out well. I just want you to understand it's not going to come out well.
Tanya's husband nods. Caption coming up.
So, Diamond, you showed up later with a group of friends, right?
No, they were my siblings.
So if it wasn't your brother who threw the bricks, as he said, which one of your siblings was it? Look at me.
Diamond averts her eyes. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Dynasty, Javante, Tanya, Diamond, and Isaiah.
17-year-old Dynasty Munez and her boyfriend Javante Williams Ramos have accused Tanya Linsenbigler and her teenage children Diamond and Isaiah Teneo of damaging her car and harassing her online.
So you were standing there and watching
Yes.
and listening to them arguing back and forth,
Yes.
right? And what happened next? Did you leave? Did he leave? Did they close the window? What happened next, sir?
They just kept arguing.
Well,
And it
they're
was-
not still arguing today, sir. Now we're in a court. At some point, they stopped arguing, and somebody left. Either you left and he left, or they left the house.
No, my kids left.
At some point, your kids left.
Yes.
And you stayed.
I stayed.
Now, you want to tell me, why did you stay?
I stayed because
something that this seasoned face believes, sir. If you went there at the request of your wife, because she was afraid there was going to be trouble, and your stepchildren took themselves out of the situation with arguing and yelling and screaming, they're at the window, they're outside, you're going to give me a reason why you stayed.
I stayed because I heard the cops coming.
Oh. So that your stepchildren left the premises before the police arrived.
Yes.
It gets better. Now you can sit.
Tanya's husband sits.
Is your claim that he threw rocks at your car and damaged it?
Yes.
Who saw that?
He did, from the back window.
Javante rises.
Now you're a witness.
I saw Isaiah out front of the house threatening Dynasty, and then while he was threatening Dynasty, he was trying to break the door. And while he was trying to break the door, another car pulled up in front of the house. And that's when Diamond and more people came out the vehicle.
And then?
And then I saw Isaiah go to the back where the vehicle is parked. And I saw him
The car that you use with her, but it's her car. Yes.
I saw him going to the back and throw bricks at the vehicle.
That's when I called.
Did you say anything to him?
No, we called the cops.
That's when you called the police.
I called them right when I saw him going to the back because of those, and then I heard my car sirens go off, and they heard it in the background as well.
And that's why he stayed.
Well, he showed up
just a second.
afterwards. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
We didn't see him.
I don't care whether, whether he did, and I don't believe a word he says. He stayed and spoke to the police. He was the adult, allegedly, who stayed and spoke to the police. And I assume you told the police that your son didn't do anything.
There was other people
Just
there.
a second. I assume you told the police your son didn't do anything.
Because it wasn't him.
Okay, good. Can I see pictures of your car, please?
Yes. These are all the damages. I also have the police report if you want.
And I'd like to see the police report.
Dynasty hands photos and a document to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them. The photos depict the scratched and dented front of a car.
Ooh. Nasty. So, Diamond, you showed up later with a group of friends, right?
No, they were my siblings.
I don't care who they were, a group of your siblings.
Yes.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 8. 7.
And how many did you show up with?
I showed up with 4 of them. They came in and said
Well,
they was already there.
clearly the plaintiff's car was damaged, and clearly it was damaged by something sharp that day. I have a witness that says it was damaged with bricks, and I see a picture of broken bricks. So if it wasn't your brother who threw the bricks, as he said, which one of your siblings was it? Look at me. If it wasn't your brother who caused damage to her car, and you showed up with your other siblings, give me the name of your other sibling who damaged the car.
It was actually my brother's friend that did it.
Oh, well, that's fine. Then your brother, how old are you?
15.
Very good. You, the mother, I'm making a judgment against him and you're involved in that judgment. If you think that somebody else was responsible, sue them. Do you understand?
Yes.
I don't believe a word that comes out of her mouth. Neither should you, by the way. Neither should you.
I believe that point because when all that was going on, he was outside screaming at them while her ex-boyfriend went in the back and did what he did. Her ex-boyfriend disappeared, and now he's not even in the city. He took off.
Okay.
And she knew, Dynasty knew who was all there.
Just a second. You, unless I heard wrong, weren't there.
No, but I was told, my daughter had told me because I was
don't care what your daughters tell you, madam. Your daughters need a little more parenting.
Yeah, well, she does too.
Your daughter, both the star and clearly this one, need a little more parenting. I don't know about this one, but it sounds to me as if this one could use a little more parenting too.
Your Honor.
Can I see the...
Can I speak about
I'm finished with this case. Can I please see the bill to fix your car?
I think you have the bill over there.
Judy consults a document.
$3,339. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Tanya, Isaiah, and Diamond, then Dynasty and Javante.
My son did not do it. She just wanted to put the allegation on somebody because she couldn't afford her own car.
They were angry at the fact that I was friends with her sister.
She caused drama.
I witnessed him breaking and damaging the vehicle.
I forgot everything about the day, to be honest.
I've been parted ways since they did all of this.
Pick wisely who you hang out with and who you speak to.
I just realized that I was being used all the way around, you know?
Sarah and Judy.
The least believable thing of that entire story, and there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of details, but the stepfather. I know that if my dad pulled up in his car on me, screaming, causing mayhem and a fight and an argument back and forth, he'd say, get in the car. What are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Let's go. And would leave. He wouldn't say that he was hiding in the bushes, surveillancing the situation to see how it was going to unfold. That's crazy. You say, get in the car. What the heck are you doing? You're 15 years old. What are you out here screaming in the street for? So,
a lot more parenting.
Yeah.
Robin Shepler is suing her former neighbor, Garrett Tappendorf, for a mobility scooter and harassment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 3053, Shepler versus Tappendorf.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Shepler, am I correct that the two of you were neighbors in a mobile home community?
Correct.
How long had you been neighbors in the community where you lived?
2 years.
Did the two of you ever see each other socially?
Just the two of us?
Just the two of you.
One time we went for a Friday night fish dinner, yes.
Other than the one-time Friday night fish dinner, did you ever go out socially with him? Either two of you or another couple or...
With other neighbors in the mobile home park.
Your case is about a scooter that you sold to the defendant.
Correct.
I want you to tell me exactly what kind of scooter it was because I wasn't able to get enough information about it.
It's called the Golden Companion 2 scooter.
Where did you get it from?
My father bought himself the scooter and a wheelchair. He never used them before he moved into a
So
nursing
you
home.
got it from your father?
Correct.
When? What year?
2018.
And how long had he had it before he gave it to you?
3 years.
And where did he get it from?
He purchased it from a connection he had at the VA center.
From a private person?
No, it was from the company directly.
Any luck?
So I just need to know if it's a 3-wheel or a 4-wheel.
3-wheel.
Then I have for a new one from Golden Tech, I believe.
Well, this one's 8 years old.
Well, I have what a new one is,
Okay.
and then I have what some eBay offers
Okay,
are.
good.
But 2756
Is new.
Is new. And then I could look up some used ones if you want, just to get
Could
an
you do
idea.
that from 2015? I would appreciate it. Okay. At the time that you claimed the defendant purchased this scooter from you, was it running?
No.
In what month and year did he purchase it from you?
May of 2021.
And how long had it not been running? You had had it since 2018.
As far as I know, it just needed 2 new batteries.
It's not what I asked you.
Okay.
How long had it not been running?
I'm not aware.
So as far as you know, it had not been running since 2018.
Yes.
Tell me what the arrangement you made with Mr. Tappendorf was with regard to the scooter. He said he wanted it. You said...
Said, well, it's not running. I wanted to get new batteries for it and sell it myself for about $3,000.
Yeah, well, that would be hard since it's 8 years old and the new one costs less than $3,000.
So I said, we can work out a deal.
Just do you understand what I just said?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So he said he's interested in buying it, and I know he's a handyman. So I asked if he would be willing to install a dishwasher in my home and a water softener in my home, and we could work out a discounted price for buying the scooter from me.
So what price did you work out?
At that time, I had mentioned $1,500.
Is that what he agreed to?
It was a verbal agreement. There was no talk on price.
No, there cannot be a contract without terms. Have to be terms. You say this is what you want. He says this is what I'll pay you. And I will do something to reduce that price by so much. Do you understand?
I do.
Okay, so far we don't have a contract.
No.
In what month and year did you take possession of the scooter, sir?
I believe Robin is right. May of 2021.
How much money did you give her for it?
None.
Did you ever give her any money for it?
Yes.
When?
Close to 8 months to a year later.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you giving her money for it.
Well, I thought we already had it worked out with all the labor that I did. And my girlfriend took it down to the mailbox. And as soon as she left, Robin's right across the street. She come running over and she said she wanted more money.
Okay, well, I'm
gave
missing
her $5.
there's a whole piece missing there, sir. 8 months later, you gave her money.
Yes, I did.
How much?
$500.
Okay. Sarah, in your
I looked up
adventure on the machine, did you come up with a price for a used.
Yes. So there's actually one right here on eBay that's the same 3 wheels that needs batteries for $350. And then there's another one for $250, and they range up to about $750.
Your Honor, I have the information on that too from 2 companies in La Crosse.
No, I don't need any information from you. I have a very trusted clerk here who's just looked it up and indicated that for a used scooter, the range is from $250 for that year model to $750 for that year model, right?
That's what she looked up. This was an unused, never used scooter.
That's what she looked up.
Yes.
Also, if I may ask you, Your Honor, or show you, it is a manufactured.
So far, you're not losing, sir. So I don't know what you want to contribute to this.
I just I have an old flip phone with the date on it. It was manufactured 05/28 of 2007.
Okay, so it wasn't 2015, it was 2007.
That's what I found on the scooter.
Kevin, can I see the document that the defendant referenced?
Okay, I'll show you.
No, you had it right over there.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, that's just, here, it's on my phone, Your Honor, and I don't know if you can look at it. I just wrote it down so I had it in front of me, but
okay.
I have it on this phone. If you can operate it, I don't know.
I can't operate it, and I don't want to operate it here.
Okay.
Return this to him. Anyway, the $500 that you gave to her is more than reasonable for the scooter.
Caption, coming up.
So my question to you is, if it was vulgar then, which to me it would have been, why did you let him in your house to install a dishwasher?
I was not aware of those actions that he had at that time.
Okay.
And later today.
He advanced the money for security deposits so you had a place to live. And the next month you decided to be a stay-at-home dad.
I had no option.
I don't care. What does that matter to Mr. Huntsman? Do I care? Does Sarah care that you had no option? Whitney doesn't care. Not even Kevin cares if you have no option.
The courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Robin and Garrett.
Robin Shepler claims her former neighbor, Garrett Tappendorf, harassed her for months and owes for a mobility scooter.
Now, you did other work for her. Tell me what other work you did for her.
The work that I performed for Robin was she had no dishwasher there. So I cut the cabinet out, prepared a spot for the dishwasher, had to go through more cabinets to get the plumbing over to the sink. Then it needed to have electrical work to power that up. And she asked me to install another electrical outlet for her microwave.
Now, Miss Shepler, you seem to acknowledge that the defendant did, in fact, install a dishwasher for you.
I did some of the work as well for that.
Well, that's your home.
Yes.
It's not his home. Mm-hmm. So you can do as much work as you like. And this was part of the deal for the scooter, which he paid you $500 for, which already covers the cost of the scooter. So now he's working off nothing. So he installed a dishwasher for you.
He did sub-quality work, though. Well, I have photos if you'd like to see.
I don't want to see, madam. If you want a professional installation, call a professional. If you want your neighbor to do it in exchange for a scooter, then you don't complain that you don't like the work. Does it wash dishes?
I had to replace it. No.
It was used, Your Honor.
What?
It was a used dishwasher.
Yeah, replacing the dishwasher. Does the current dishwasher work?
Yes.
Is the current dishwasher a new one?
Yes.
Was the one he installed a used one?
Yes.
There we go. So far, he's paid for the scooter. Punitive damages for harassment. You want to go into that, Ms. Shepler?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
I knew him for 6 years prior to being neighbors. In that time, we would have community fires, bonfires, and he had this habit of turning his music up so loud.
Just a second. Give me a month and year.
This specific time for the last time was on March 16th. This was during the day.
Just March 16th, 2023. He played his music too loud.
I was working, and I couldn't do my job across the street because his music was so loud.
Next.
So I called the police. And the next day I came home from work, I get out of my car, and he calls me
that's a nasty word.
No, I did not.
Just a second. And
other vulgar terms.
And
he had the habit of standing outside urinating, where my grandchildren would see him.
Well, tell me when. Give me
every other day he did it.
Well, then you shouldn't have let him in your house to install a dishwasher.
He also had...
Just a second. So my question to you is, if it was vulgar then, which to me it would have been, why did you let him in your house to install a dishwasher?
I was not aware of those actions that he had at that time.
Okay. Next.
The harassment comes from after he was served his small claims case that I filed. I witnessed him putting spotlights out in his front flower bed and running extension cords to power them. And I kind of wondered what he was doing. At 6:30, I proceeded to go to an evening activity. I came home at 10:30 at night. I turned the corner onto my street to see the entire street lit up because these spotlights are shining on my house. I proceeded to call the police. The police came within 11 minutes. I have documents of the police. I have a video of the police going to the defendant's house in which they spoke to him. And within 3 minutes, the lights went off. But I had my camera rolling and I could see the police were standing 10 feet away from the door. Next thing I know, the police are coming over to my house to talk to me. And when they came to my door, I turned on my front light. When the police came, they asked me to turn off the lights so they could talk to me. And I told them, this man is harassing me. I'm afraid of him. He has a problem with alcohol.
Why did you file a small claims case against him? I don't understand. You were paid more than the scooter was worth between the $500 he gave you that you accepted. Plus, in addition to that, he did some work in your house, whether you liked the work he did, whether you didn't like the work that he did. I'm not understanding why you filed, because you say this harassment started after you filed the small claims case.
Yes.
And I don't understand why you filed a small claims case against him.
I feel it was a brand new, unused scooter that happened to be 6 years old at the time. So I think the value was higher than $500. And I brought over a flyer to him, which I have here. And we sat down and we discussed it, that $1,000 would be the going price for what he'd owed for the scooter, having done the work.
Okay. First of all, whatever it was a plus item for you. It was given to you by your father who couldn't use it anymore. You don't know what he paid for it. He says from the scooter, it was built in 2007, despite the fact that you say your father bought it new in 2015, which I'm not so sure about. But the highest price for that scooter is $750. The highest. The lowest is $225 in the same year. So you got paid for it. I don't understand why a busy woman like you would waste your time. I just don't understand. You seem like an intelligent woman. You have a counterclaim. It is your claim, Mr. Tappendorf, that because the plaintiff called the police on you several times, it caused you to be evicted from your home.
That's true.
Show me.
I filed a counterclaim in the amount of $1,800.
I have it. And it says punitive damages for losing home and moving expenses, which I read your counterclaim and you say because of her constant complaints about you.
I don't have any proof.
Well, if you don't have,
I know,
Mr. Tappendorf, you know what happens when you don't have proof?
You get nothing.
Right. Because you filed the counterclaim, and I can't tell you what happened. You have to have proof and be able to show me that the reason you were asked to leave the leased property that your mobile home was on was because of the plaintiff. It's possible that it was, because the police, based upon what she tells me, were called twice.
It was more than that.
That may be more of a reason. You don't have to help his case.
I've never had a ticket, never had a warning. I just had a warning one time that the radio was too loud, please turn it off. These lights that she's talking about
I'm not interested.
False.
Sir, all you have to do is show me that you were evicted from the property because of the plaintiff.
It's all hearsay then, Your Honor.
Well, then I have a problem.
I do have proof of what he harassed me with.
Just a second.
And later today.
According to what I read, the money was going to come from your work.
Could we ask that question one more time? Just so I know.
The money was supposed to come. Listen, he didn't give you $2,800. I want you to understand that right now. That's not going through my mind.
Okay.
This is a very smart old mind.
Whitney smiles